I was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm extremely proud of not only where I came from, but who I came from. When I look back at some of the great things that my relatives have done, the selflessness, the impact on the community, they've just been role models for what I want to do in my business, and I just feel like it's my obligation to uphold their legacy. When I wrote my personal mission statement, it had to deal with just being the best version of myself and pulling that out of other people. My mom ended her career being the principal of the #1 elementary school in Omaha Public Schools. And my dad, he won multiple awards, one of them being the Warren Buffett Teaching Award. And he won it the first year that Warren Buffett had that for excellence in teaching in Omaha Public School system. So they both are, highly decorated educators. And that's something that, as I get older, I realize that they were really innovators in their fields. I'm just trying to pass the torch that they've given me, and it's real important to me that I keep pushing for excellence.
My grandparents were born in Sicily, and they all came to Omaha. My nonno Marino, which was my mother's father, he had a big heart, and I think that's where Tim got it.
The Marino grocery store is a historical landmark. It's still in Omaha. It's been renovated, but the original sign still exists today, and it represents what my great-grandpa did during the Great Depression by putting a lot of families on credit and still giving them the food they needed and the groceries they needed, even though he knew that he'd probably never see the money for it.
That was one place they knew that they could always get the food they needed, and there was just a tab that was kept. You didn't have to pay. Italian people are all about keeping family together.
When we told Tim the stories of his grandfather, how he would give food to people and not expect payment back, Tim took that to heart.
The other relative that I think is the closest example to a spiritual entity or person I've ever met was my great-uncle Anthony. And he was a Catholic bishop that got ordained at the Vatican. This last year, actually, we lost my Uncle Anthony. He was the one that basically was selfless his whole life. As I look back at my family, we have a history of these traits of people that have just done amazing things, that have been really humanitarians. And I find it as my obligation to aspire to behave in the way they did and do the things they did.
Through Tim's work, he does the same thing. He has his veterans program where he works to give back to veterans.
That's just the giving spirit that Tim has, and we're very proud of him.